How you doing, YouTube? So right now, what we're gonna talk about is the constitutional right to work. So that's you not being in the union, okay? So New York and every state, but you gotta know how to enforce it, because not every state is a right to work state. So in New York, it's a right to work state. So that means you don't need a license. You don't need a license to work. So now, the right to work, okay? So remember before in one of my videos I said you couldn't represent nobody else. There's people out there that the government calls sovereign citizens, and then they go in there trying to represent other people, and they're like, oh, you don't got a license to be an attorney, you can't represent nobody else. That's all gibberish. You know what I'm saying? So what you could do is you say I got a constitutional right to work. The right to work is part of the First Amendment. It's part of the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And always use state constitutions as well. Now, when you want to enforce other constitutions from other states, you don't want to use the 14th Amendment privileges and immunities clause. The 14th Amendment is for corporations. That's when a corporation became a person, and a person, meaning a corporation, was allowed to sue and be sued in its franchise, or corporation, or LLCs, or whatever. So you don't want to use that. I believe it's Article 4, Section 2 of the United States Constitution, that all the citizens of every state should be entitled to all the rights and privileges of the other citizens in the other states. Right? So now you want to use that. That's part of the main document. So when you use that, you use the Supremacy Clause. The Supremacy Clause is Article 6, Paragraph 2, which states that this Constitution is the law of the land, and all judges in every state are bound to obey it. So that's how you enforce that. So I'm going to save this for another video. Only state citizens have all constitutional rights. U.S. citizens only got 14th Amendment rights, because of the 14th Amendment, it's a state corporation, so they got certain rights, not all rights. So anyway, so I'm in New York, and I'm selling ice cream, shirts, waters, tamales, ices, lollipops, watermelon in the parks or in the streets as vendors. And you know how the cops come and say, yo, you don't got a permit. They start toasting your stuff and throwing everything out, or taking your food and all that, like they recently did in Queens. You got them, automatically lawsuit. I be thinking about doing this, but I'm not. But I'm not saying for you to do it, but I'm saying that if you could work. But if that happens to you, you always tell them, turn on your camera, and be like, excuse me, turn on your camera and start everything over. Okay, your camera's on. Okay, my name's so-and-so, your name officer. Okay, so I'm selling here, and you're saying that I need a license or a permit, and I don't have it, so you're going to take all my property. Okay, you're going to give me a receipt for that. Make sure you put everything on the record. Make sure they're recording. So they take your stuff, they give you a summons. When you go to court, the first day you go to court, they try to ask you to plead guilty and not guilty, and let you know about the charges. So usually try to memorize this. If you could write it down, you could write it down. So they're gonna say, me, let's go Rudy. They're gonna say Rudy. They're gonna say the people of the state of New York versus Rudy. Depends where you at. They're still gonna say the people of the state of New York. It could be Queens County, Richmond County. That changes at the heading. So now they're saying, yes, I go up there and be like, Rudy, you're being charged with violating this law and that law and that law for failure to get a permit. And I'm gonna be like, well, Your Honor, first, when you get up there, you're gonna say, ready, Your Honor. I am Rudy, here before this honorable court. I'm standing as my own counsel. I have appointed myself my own attorney under the Ferretta ruling and under the 6th Amendment, and I'm ready to proceed in my administrative and procedure matters. And at this time, Your Honor, may it please the court, I motion for dismissal with prejudice for failure to state a cause of action for which relief may be granted. You didn't submit any evidence, and you didn't submit any case law apart from the Ferretta hearing, which is from Ferretta ruling, I believe. And under the 6th Amendment, where you got the right to represent yourself. Now you're saying I don't need an attorney. So since you didn't defend the permit thing and all that, he's gonna deny it. He's gonna say motion denied. You're gonna say thank you, Your Honor, and then he's gonna ask you, how do you plead? Now, before he asks you how do you plead, you could do a lot of things. You could challenge jurisdiction. Now, if you challenge jurisdiction, you stick to it and you don't answer nothing except jurisdiction. Well, Your Honor, so, but that's a different video. So you're gonna say, well, this is for the license. So he says, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty. You're gonna say, well, Your Honor, I am an unenfranchised. You know, the U.S. citizens, that's a franchise, a corporation, right? So you're gonna say I'm an unenfranchised. Basically, you're from the state, or for wherever you're from, doesn't matter. It's how you articulate. So you're gonna say, well, Your Honor, I am an unenfranchised common law freeman. When you say common law, it means that you go by Supreme Court rulings, like, you know, the Brown case where they couldn't segregate people, or the Heller case with the Second Amendment. These are landmark cases. So when you're saying you're a common law free man, you're saying that, look, I go by the Supreme Court decisions. So you're going to say, I'm an unenfranchised common law free man. I live at the common law. I'm not a participant in any taunting scheme. I'm not a participant in any taunting scheme and unlimited liability and joint venture for profit with an insurable interest require me to participate in this illegal corporate Ponzi scheme. Your Honor, I got the right to work under the First Amendment. And this is a right to work state. Now, the state of New York, Queens County, arbitrarily and capriciously converted that right into a privilege and issued a license and a fee for it. Pause. So right there, when you say that, they're saying that you need a license or a permit. So automatically you're saying you got a First Amendment right. Boom, I got a First Amendment right. Now you're saying that the state of New York arbitrarily converted that into a privilege, saying it's a privilege that you need a permit. So you're gonna go, after you say that, you go again. The state of New York arbitrarily, capriciously converted my right to privilege and issued a license and a fee for it. Your Honor, Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, 319 U.S. 105, 1943 states, no state, including New York, Kings County, can convert secure liberty into a privilege and issue a license and a fee for it. And if they do, Shuttleworth versus City of Birmingham, Alabama states that I can engage in the right with impunity. Now, Your Honor, in United States versus Bishop, 412 U.S. 396, no. Shuttleworth versus City of Birmingham, Alabama, 373 U.S. 262. And then United States versus Bishop, 412 U.S. 396, is something like that. I'll put it in the comments. So, Your Honor, United States versus Bishop sets a standard for criminal prosecutions, that in every criminal case they have to prove that the defendant did so willfully. Now, willfully in this case is defined as an evil motive or intent to avoid a legal known duty attached under the law with a moral certainty. I submit, Your Honor, I couldn't have done that illegal because the Constitution says I got the right to work. Murdoch versus Pennsylvania says that I don't need that no state could convert my right into a privilege. And Shuttleworth versus City of Birmingham says that if you do, I can engage in the right with impunity. That means you can't punish me. And since I'm following the Constitution and the decisions of the Supreme Court, the prosecutor can't prove willfulness. He can't complete his major task, Your Honor. I didn't do anything evil. Therefore, Your Honor, I motion for dismissal with prejudice for failure to state a cause of action for which relief may be granted. You know, so this is the defense. These cases are all Supreme Court cases. So this is how you're defending your right. You're saying I got the right to work, and this is a right to work state. Now, the prosecutor is saying that I need a permit. And I'm saying that Murdoch versus Pennsylvania says he can't convert my constitutional right into a privilege. And if they do, I can engage in impunity under Shuttleworth versus City of Birmingham, Alabama. So what you want to do is you want to go to a law library and print out these cases and keep them in your files. Now, the reason I say go to law library is because if you don't have Westlaw or LexisNexis or Lexis, it's a website with Supreme Court decisions, U.S. Reporters. When you go on Google or YouTube, you're gonna find the case, but you don't have everything, the whole complete opinion. So there's also a website called Justia, Justia, in Google, but they don't give you everything. So that's why you got to go to the law library. So these are the exact words and the opinions of the court, which says, point 1, No state may convert a secure liberty into a privilege. And then when you get to the Shuttleworth case, Shuttleworth versus City of Birmingham, Alabama, it says that if a state converts a secure liberty into a privilege, the citizen may engage in a right with impunity. So you see? So this is what you have to do.
What time is it?
I'll tell you right now, 7:56.
Oh, about it.
So this is what you got to do. So you're in the right to work state. So when you bring this argument, you could also get your damages. So you're gonna say, wherefore, Your Honor, may it please the court, I motion for dismissal with prejudice for failure to state a cause of action for which relief may be granted, and I would like to collect my cost and fees for having to defend this frivolous and patentless case. May it please the court. Now, even if you don't get your court and fees there, once you win that case, which you should, because if he says motion denied, you're gonna say I object on the record as a mistrial, as an appealable issue. Boom, you got it on the record. It's for an appealable issue, and you most likely they're gonna violate your rights. New York is dirty. So I found 2 videos of people that go to court and they record themselves, and these 2 different people don't know each other, and they use 2 arguments that I use in one of my court cases, and their cases were dismissed. My case, the judge ignored it, overruled it. Fine, whatever. That's a different story. So so you got to make sure. Well, Your Honor, I object on the record as an appealable issue. Boom, and you continue. Now, when you go to court, when you go to trial, right? Trial is only to dispute the facts. Trial is to dispute the facts. They're saying you did something, you saying you didn't do it. But in this case, you're gonna say, yes, that's true, I did do it. So you can't go to trial because you're admitting to the truth. You're saying, yes, I was selling. Yes, I did not have a permit, and yes, I did not have a license or a permit. So now, if you're agreeing to what they're saying, how are they gonna have a trial? They gotta prove what they're saying beyond a reasonable doubt. So now, what you're arguing, it's usually called substantive due process, because they got due process. They got procedural due process. Procedural due process is that you get the hearings, you get to cross-examine people and all that. That's due process, procedural. Now, substantive is according to the law. If they violate the law, they violate a decision or some type of constitutional. So you're gonna say that on your record, So that's what you would do. Your Honor, I'm an unenfranchised common law free man. I live at the common law. I'm not a participant in any taunting schemes of limited liability joint venture for profit with an insurable interest requiring me to participate in this illegal corporate Ponzi schemes. Sometimes I leave out the illegal, but I say in these corporate Ponzi schemes, and then you just continue to the argument. So just know that you got a right to work. A right to work is a constitutional right. Some rights you don't find them in the Constitution, so you probably want to add them into the 9th Amendment. So now you got to find cases that says that the Constitution should be liberally enforced in favor of the citizen. I understand when you say citizen and American state national. Don't worry about it. They say you're a citizen. Yeah, I'm an American citizen or an American state national. But at no time am I a U.S. citizen. And if I am a U.S. citizen, under Article 6, Paragraph 2, M.R. v. Madison, anything contrary is null and void of law. You heard? So this is how you control the courts. And Your Honor, say the judge says, we're going to save that for trial. And I'm going to enter a plea of guilty, not guilty. You're going to say, objection, Your Honor. I object on the record as a mistrial, as an appealable issue. As you practicing law from the bench under Title 28 U.S.C. 454, which says that they can't do anything, they can't do a lot of stuff that they do. They can't act like attorneys. So, from my experience, somebody comes in sick and the judge wants to object because the witness can't come. But before that, the prosecutor was ready and you're ready. And the prosecutor's going to say, well, I'm going to postpone this case. Well, I object, Your Honor. You're practicing law from the bench. You're acting as a prosecutor of the case. No, this is how I did it. I was like, well, Your Honor. I'm like, well, Your Honor, are you the disinterested third party who's going to try the case as a trier of fact? She like, well, she tried to say that she wasn't the trier of fact, but I'm like, but you're the judge, right? And she like tried to keep avoiding. I was like, excuse me, are you the prosecutor? And he's like, yes, I'm the prosecutor. I'm like, thank you, Your Honor. I object on the record as a mistrial, as an appealable issue. If you're gonna act as judge of the case and as a prosecutor of the case, I'm going to object. You're practicing law from the bench in violation of Title 28 U.S.C. 454. You're defending the case. The prosecutor's ready and I'm ready, and you're postponing the case. You're practicing law. You're acting as the prosecutor. You're defending the case. I'm going to object. She did a recall. She like, you know what? Counsel approached the bench, and she like, is your witness here ready? No, they left. Why you send them home and all that? Yo, it's crazy. So, you know what I'm saying? Always save everything for object to everything. And always put your arguments into the constitutional right. If you don't put it in the Constitution, you're going to lose. You're going to get railroaded. You know? So, you know, I'm in Queens. I'm selling. They take my stuff. Fine, I take it. Oh, well, why did you give your stuff? Why you didn't fight? Well, Your Honor, the police officer, he's on the armed party. He has a weapon. I don't have a weapon. You know, automatically, I'm not going to win. I can't argue with a cop. I'm going to argue with the courts, with the judge. You want to take my stuff? Fine, under duress. Meaning that I don't want to, but I'm going to. He's an armed party, you know. And if I resist, what am I going to get? New charges, resisting arrest, a whole bunch of stuff. Resisting arrest, impeding, how you call that? When you interfere with justice. They give you crazy charges after that. But you got to know your arguments. I'm going to do my best to submit the court cases in here. Usually the same court cases are the same ones that I use on all my videos. Sometimes I add more. But the reason that I say this is because the argument is a razor-sharp argument. They're all on constitutional defenses. The only thing that changes is the constitutional right that you invoke. Like on the Black Laws Dictionary, they got the right to family integrity, which is that you could raise your kids as you see fit, not as some third party arbitrarily, capriciously bar association sees fit. So this is some of it. You want to comment, you want questions, you want to donate, please do so. The basics are in there. Within due time, I'll add the case law and all that. Stay focused and exercise your right to work, you know. You see people out there trying to make a living, you know, and these people come and take their stuff. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of police officers that are good, and, you know, I respect what they stand for, but I don't respect everything that they do. You know, there's a lot of good people, and, you know, thumbs up to them. You know, they got my support, but to the ones that just abuse their authority, abuse their power, that's something not for me. Thank you, people.